is I would never hesitate to take up new challenging assignments. If you understand your customers' needs and wants, you will be able to continue surviving in the business. The biggest issue in India is that your decisions are all vertical. There are not a lot of things also. What you've learned from the Indian culture. So on the living atmosphere for everybody, and from a consumer point of view, if I'm looking at it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay All, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. We have one such industry giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Turab Ur Rahaman. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Thank you, Atul.
In his current role as Director of Operations at SAB Logistics, Riyadh, he oversees customs clearance, inbound deliveries, and exports across entire Saudi Arabia. Leading a team of more than 400 employees, he manages commercial and pricing strategy, product development, and cost management. So, sir, could you let our viewers know, please, in brief about your career journey, the wonderful journey it has been so far?
Atul, I started my career back in this industry back as a market research executive with a 15-day stint when I was out of college back in 1995 in Bangalore. And impressed with my work during that 15-day temporary stint as a market research executive, my first boss offered me a position of a sales executive. And his words ring true even today when he mentioned to me, Turab, if you are able to survive for the initial 3 years in this industry, you will be able to not leave this industry. You will continue in this industry. You'll be stuck in this industry for a long time. And those words ring true even today. And I have been a living example of this. I started my career back as a sales executive, and thankfully, due to a high growth reward mechanism that the company had, one thing led to another, and I continued growing in my roles in the first in every 3 to 4 years. The good thing out over here in this particular industry is that hard work really pays off. You get rewarded, and but the main benefit from my side is I would never hesitate to take up new challenging assignments, even if it is greenfield appointments, even in countries that I never used to work before. I have worked in the Middle East. I have worked in the Indian subcontinent. I worked in Bangladesh for a period of 5 years. I've done stints in Europe. So it has been a varied and a diverse experience. So people who want to take up the challenges, I think it's been a fantastic experience. I've been in sales for half of this time that I have been during my career. I have moved then later subsequently into operations. With sales, this also gave me a beautiful understanding of what or how businesses should survive. It effectively has to be by understanding the customer's needs and wants. That's the basis for any business to survive in this industry, or any business to continue in this industry. As long as you understand your customers' needs and wants, you will be able to continue surviving in the business.
So, but like when you work across so many multiple domains, you face a number of challenges, I'm sure, especially across countries. So, what were the biggest challenges that you faced in your professional life, and what did you think of? How did you overcome them?
Sure. When I started back my career, Atul, back in 1995, I started my career back in India. It wasn't in a alien atmosphere. You passed out of college, and then you started getting in. You were adapted to the local culture, the local generic culture, which is quite a heterogeneous culture in India, with a multitude and a diverse culture. You adapt to that. At the time, when I started my career, the best thing that could have happened is that the economy was really opening up. And there was a lot of competitiveness in the economy that was coming through, especially in the early and the late 90s. And it was quite fast-paced. It was challenging. and you needed to be at your toes. You needed to be learning every day. I think that was a key skill set that one had to adapt at that point of time. And being an enthusiastic person, obviously, I didn't come in from a very great family background, and effectively, survival was key for me. And we started adapting, we started learning from each other, but we went out into the market and we were aggressive in the market, especially in the sales field. So when you start understanding the customer, when you start feeling the success in the initial stages, I think that motivates one person to continue to perform at a very high level. That supported my initial growth, and that is what I actually took on board from there. The competitiveness, the aggressiveness, adaptation to the local culture, and the need to for a person to learn every day what you are implementing either in sales or learning from you from a customer. So as you keep learning, you keep evolving.
So, with cross, cultural experience, it can become very different, and you can see large differences between the people here and the people somewhere else in other parts of the country. Did you also feel that, the corporate landscape culture, did you feel that it's very different?
Yes, absolutely. Um, when you look at the Indian culture and when you come out into a foreign country, the first thing is adaptation and understanding what is currently happening. In India, apart from the heterogeneous culture that you have, there are a lot of things at the business environment that are taken for granted. For example, lateness, punctuality is not really very defined. So you have somebody giving you a 9 o'clock meeting, but then you end up turning up for the meeting at say 9:15. You're still okay with it. Yeah. Then the biggest issue in India is that your decisions are all vertical. They're not taken by people at the horizontal level. So you always have to cascade, or you always have to cater to the protocol that you need to follow. Very similar when you move out into a different world, especially in Europe as well as in the Middle East. Punctuality is something that is really essential. Lateness or laxity is not something that is easily taken. People do expect you to be attending meetings, setting up appointments, and there has to be a sort of a formal mechanism of approaching people. This is number one. Number two, while I moved into the Middle East, although the culture is a homogeneous culture from a societal point of view, but because of the multitude of people of nationalities working in the Middle East, it was a heterogeneous work culture at work. So you have to jump in from a homogeneous culture when you go out into the society to a heterogeneous culture when you get into the workplace. And this also, then again, you have different understanding of people, say, from the subcontinent to people from Europe to people from the Middle East. So you needed to have a little more adaptability and sensibility towards how you are actually functioning here. So that also teaches you a lot in terms of how to be a little more sensible to the cultures around you. So we had to take in a lot of assimilation, and you had to unlearn a lot of things also, what you've learned from the Indian culture. So these were a few challenges from a work culture perspective.
And so during all these years, you've been working for a while. How and when did you feel the need to, expand your purview to ESG and corporate governance?
Sure. I have been involved in a lot of CSR activities from as part of my organization, as part of my C-suite roles. I was involved with the United Nations WFP in relief activities back in Bangladesh as a teen, when I was a country manager for TNT. We had to organize a lot of activities from a logistics point of view to get to relief situations under cyclones, earthquakes, and all of that. I was also part of a Goodwill Ambassador team of the UNICEF for quite some time as part of the corporate CSR activity roles. This time, although there was no formal sort of a qualification or an education that I went through, there were quite a lot of trainings, which opened up my mind to say that the corporates can do a lot more, Atul. And if corporates can do a lot more, then obviously the world is a lot better place for us. But most importantly, this would also enable the corporates to, apart from giving back to the society, this would also enable them to sustain their business for a longer period of time. We have seen a lot of companies actually having wound up, who started off with fantastic ideas, but who actually wound up after a period of time because they couldn't sustain their business model, or they were also not learning from what the consumers wanted, what the general society as such wanted. So during these stints is actually what gave me what made me feel that there was a need for us to get into ESG and work towards sustainability. So after these experiences, without any formal education, I've been in whatever roles I've been trying to drive the organizations in my own leadership roles to focus more on sustainability and CS. And when I found this platform with WDC, I jumped at the opportunity to see, okay, how can I take this forward through a sort of structured learning program.
So, as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what are some of the values that you get onto the table? I'm sure there are many.
Okay. Again, the experience that I have for almost 3 decades in itself, for me, I bring my day-to-day living experience in terms of what I have already delivered. When I first stepped into the Middle East back in 1999, Dubai or the Middle East was not as what it is now. But the pace at which they have adapted has been pretty fast. And with this adaptation, we've had not just to balance our current work roles, but also to continue to evolve the organizations under ESG as well as corporate sustainability. Now, today, if I go back and look at, say, how these organizations were like around about 20 years ago, I think they have moved at a faster pace than the rest of the world. Okay, and if they have adapted so quickly, part of that has also been that the Indian diaspora, if I can say, has been a big portion of that. But at the same time, why can't we leverage on this experience that the Indian diaspora themselves have taken in to see what we can probably provide to companies, Indian companies back at home, and see how we can support them. So as an independent executive director, something that I'm looking out to support my learnings, whatever I've had in this particular area, to go back to the companies that I could possibly take up roles as an executive director and support them in implementation of these guidances and these rules faster. So the faster these companies adapt to environment sustainability and things like that, they will be in a lot better space in the future. So this is where I think I could probably leverage my experience from a hands-on practical experience of what we have done in the Middle East in the last 15 to 20 years to what we could possibly do to upcoming companies in the country.
So, with the current growing technology levels, I'm sure you must have seen a number of changes, but what changes do you also expect to see with all these new technologies that are coming into the market, like AI, ML, blockchain, big data, cloud, Web 3.0, digital twin, etc. With all of this coming in, what do you expect to see?
Yeah. One key learning for me, Atul, has been the need for me to constantly evolve myself and keep updated. I'll just give you a quick example, just a little bit off the cuff. When I passed out of college, we never had any subject called, and these are MBAs, huh? We never had anything called as digital marketing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you never had the social media marketing as a this thing, but today, 20 years down the line, is a part of life.
Correct.
You cannot have a marketing guru or you cannot have a marketing manager in the company without having the knowledge of digital media. Now, if a person who's become a marketing manager, say 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and if he doesn't understand the digital media today, then he is out of sync or he's out of his job. So one has a need to constantly keep evolving. And myself, if I look at the logistics industry as a rookie, we would wait for telex messages to come in from New York to say, okay, this shipment has been delivered. Today we have digital signatures. Yeah, and you have electronic proof of deliveries. You don't have any hard copy airway bills of anything of that sort. Or 20 years ago, what we used to have. So one has to have always the need to constantly evolve on technology. Technology at this point of time is extremely fast-paced. So with this fast pace, if one does not adapt, one is out of the market. So the technologies that I have continued that over the last few years that has seen drastic evolvement in the logistics industry itself. You have AI, you have IoT, you have blockchain. Over the last couple of years, what I have been seeing is the digital twins in the logistics industry, which can be a game changer. But this will also be at the need as to how organizations can quickly adapt and how much money do they want to invest. You can continue to rely on manual processes, but if you want to be smarter, if you want to be faster in reacting to not just the need of the market, but also for your own sustainability in terms of profit, you need to evolve and you need to keep moving on. The digital twins is something that I see a lot of investment going in from the logistics industry. I can take names of companies like DHL also, who have set up distinct teams within the organization to start looking at this, start looking at technology enhancement. I myself have been a big fan of the RPA bot automation. We have undertaken a recent process of around about $2.5 million investment in our own company in Riyadh. It has reduced the manpower requirement for me for almost 38%, but it has speeded up the process for me. Then we're also looking at complete automation. We're looking at cloud servers. You never had physical, you never are likely to see any physical servers in the future. So everything is going to be cloud-based. So these kind of technologies, I think, have been an amazing transformation, and it will evolve. And while people get worried about lack of jobs or these technologies killing jobs, I have a contrarian view on that. I think that if you don't adapt, then you're going to not survive. Again, probably goes back to Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Absolutely, sir. So, as you know, we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Heval Mehta, Mr. Zishan Pathan, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
I think it's been, first and foremost, I think it's a great initiative, Atul. It's a fantastic, laudable initiative, if I must say. And if I look at Mr. Zishan Pathan, if I look at some of the conferences that I've attended online with him, I've not had the chance to meet him personally face to face, which I would love to do so sometime in the future. But if I look at it, I think there's one key element that is actually coming out. And many of the industry leaders, if I actually look at it, I think they have evolved themselves simply because they felt the need for them to keep learning. And how do they learn? They learn by sharing an experience. So today, if I'm talking about sharing my experience and you listen to it, you learn something. Same way, if you share an experience with me, you learn something. So the industry magnets here have the kind of experience that can, if put together on a particular platform, can actually transform the businesses in the future, has a power to transform the living atmosphere for everybody, and from a consumer point of view, if I'm looking at it. So as long as you have the WDC and Mr. Heval Mehta as well as Mr. Pathan, if they put together a sort of a platform like this is giving us people who've contributed, who work in particular industries, a chance for us to share our ideas and thoughts on a particular platform in a concrete manner. So documenting this is actually how it is going to help the future generations to come through. It is just like evolving a book. You have a thought, you write a book about it, and you reach out to millions of people. So it's exactly in a similar manner that this initiative from the WDC, from Mr. Heval Mehta and Mr. Pathan, I think is commendable. If you can put together the experience of thousands of people like this, the industry leaders, I think it's a great effort for us to leave something as a legacy for the future generations to come.
Great, sir. I mean, it was absolutely lovely talking to you, and I believe some of the major takeaways I've had from this are your ability to continuously change, adapt, and work towards improving and inculcating whatever is new, plus giving back to the society for future generations. So I think That's lovely to hear, sir, and really inspiring for someone like me. It was great conversing with you, sir, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today and
It's
wish you
been a
the
pleasure
best.
to Sorry. It's been a pleasure to be on this meeting here with you, Atul. I thank the WDC also for an opportunity to put our thoughts together like this in this manner. So it's a wonderful initiative again, and I look forward to being part of the WDC community in the future.
Pleasure is all ours, sir. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.